have another hotshot. Also good to go. This just is the trap. Here's the big time hotshot. Happy bounty hunting. Don't think we'll be cracking.
So guys, this is my AK class that you saw in that little clip right there, and I've updated it from the community tab. The one in the community tab was a little bit different, but I updated this one, and this is the AK class. It is arguably the best assault rifle in the game right now, so for those of you guys that are curious, there you go. So without further ado, let's get right into the video, shall we? Let's get into the topic here. So my first impressions on XDefiant. I am currently a level, what am I? Well, my AK is a 49, or 59, excuse me, and my overall level, I think, is like 43 right now as of the time of this recording. So I've put in a good amount of time into the game. So what do I think? Well, I'm going to start with a few simple facts. Fact number one, regardless of what you may think, there is no skill-based matchmaking in XDefiant. Number two, the desync issue still exists, but the game actually does feel better than any other version that I've played previous to launch. And this is true. It felt very much the same on the first day, but since day 2, which was yesterday, and then today, it's been feeling a lot more consistent, and the hit registration is more responsive, noticeably more responsive. But despite all that, there's still the desync issues, and when that eventually gets ironed out, I have no doubt that the game is going to feel that much better, and I think people are going to get addicted to it even more for the people that are addicted to it. Let's see, what else am I talking to? I really love the vibrance, obviously. You can see your targets easier, and then at the same time, they can see you very easily. I think the factions are both a hit and a miss at the same time, and what do I mean by that? So, obviously, there's positives and negatives when I say that. So, like, in terms of competitive, I think it could be an additional layer of skill when every player in a 4v4 can only choose one of the different factions, and you can't have two of the same factions on the team. I think in terms of when you can use them and how you can use them, there's some strategy that can be put into that. But when it comes to pubs, to where anybody can choose any faction, I think it's kind of chaotic, but I understand why they're there, and that is because, you know, it's another. Even for pubs, it makes, you know, it gives the casuals something to play with, and yet at the same time, even for people that are not casuals, again, it gives them something to play with. So there's, when it comes to games like this, which are arcade arena shooters, you know, they kind of have to do this. They did that with they did it with Streaks and Call of Duty, as well as a few other things. But this is XDefiant's way of kind of doing that. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bare bones mode coming in the future, to where it's just like, you know, just gun on gun, and that's pretty much it. The spawns in the game, I still have I have a little bit of a difficult time understanding. I know one thing is that they're sticky, and it's really hard to flip them. It's really hard to flip spawns regardless of whatever game mode you play. Occupy, obviously, I think is a little bit different. I actually, truth be told, I haven't played Occupy. I've just been sticking to Hotshot because I love that game mode. But also I played some Domination, and in the first day of release, when I switched to Domination for a little while, I noticed a hell of a lot more sweats were playing Domination, and they were certainly using the fact that there were sticky spawns to their advantage, that's for sure. But because of the maps and the way they're designed, you can certainly get out of there, but yet again, it's still very hard to flip those spawns. Hopefully that's something that they might change, but in accordance with the design of the maps and how they work, their size, you know, their way they're designed, etc., you know, there's the 3-lane aspect, but at the same time, there's kind of like lanes within lanes. So it's kind of like, they're kind of like COD World War II in that aspect, but even bigger, because the pacing of the game is faster than Call of Duty World War II, but they're not big to the point to where you're like, you know, in Stonehaven in Call of Duty Ghosts, not even close. You're going to find a lot of action, but at the same time, if you're trying to be a flanker and get to the other side of the map, like you would in any Call of Duty, like you go on the outskirts of the map and you try to flank and you try to get behind people and attack from the side. In this game, for the most part, at least with my experience, like I do that and I don't find anybody, and that's because they're so sticky. So the action is a little bit closer to spawn, so you're likely to find a little bit more, from what I've noticed, you're likely to find more action going on, like within the first third or half of the map, as opposed to just going to the other side. It takes a lot to flip spawns. That's one thing I've noticed. So that's going to take some getting used to. And again, the factions are just they're just wacky, they're annoying, but at the same time, you know, it is one of those things that you're just going to have to continue to deal with. And in time, as you get better, you know, I think the fact that you can kind of control that chaos as you get better with the game yourself is going to be something that you could use to your advantage. I mean, if I see some of the best players in the world doing it, I'm pretty sure sooner or later that other people that don't learn as fast or don't adapt as fast are going to eventually understand, and it's going to click with them. Let's see. So headshots matter, absolutely. If you can help it, absolutely go for those headshots. They are not a joke at all whatsoever. The headshot multiplier in terms of how this game works is incredible. Sure, you can do all body shots and stuff like that, and that's great. But at the same time, if you can legitimately go for that headshot, go for it. It will. You're gonna melt people if you can do that. If you can be accurate and do that, you're gonna melt people. I think that's one of the things that makes the M16 very viable because of how it's used or whatnot. And then you've got that burst. If you manage to get a headshot with that thing, I'm pretty sure you can kill in maybe one burst, but it's got to have a headshot in there as well. But even though in terms of how this game works, it's probably going to be 2 bursts. But even with that being said, you could still do, you know, to the body, but if you get the head, it's going to melt even more. But regardless of whether or not it's the M16, it's still, headshots matter, so do not neglect them. Submachine guns feel good. They can't completely challenge from a distance against an AR, but it depends on the distance itself, the SMG used, and the skill level of the person using the SMG, and in comparison to the skill level of using an assault rifle. So if you're at a pretty decent distance away and somebody's got an SMG and somebody's got an assault rifle and they have about equal skill, with that assault rifle, chances are the person that's got the assault rifle is going to get the upper hand because of just how it's designed. If you were to quote unquote map somebody with an SMG, it's going to take a considerable more amount of bullets as of right now from what I've seen. In time, I'll know even more, and I can give you. And again, this is the first impression. This is not, you know, an end all be all, but yeah, SMGs for the most part in this game are used the way they're intended to, and assault rifles, yet again, they're used the way they're intended to. But with that being said, this is an assault rifle game in my opinion. You know, I'm pretty sure there's a few people out there that are definitely using the marksman rifles very, very well. For them, that they're very good with those semi-automatic weapons. There's one in particular, I forget what it's called, the SSR or something like that, and that one is basically a 2-shot kill. So if you if you're able to aim and do that, then it's going to work out to your advantage. Sniper rifles are very strong. They're very strong. They're very versatile. They are a quick scoper's wet dream, so to speak. Just a sniper's wet dream, really. They're really, really good. I mean, I've even seen people on Twitter that are good mouse and keyboard players say, "Hey, sniping is very easy. I don't know. This might need a significant nerf." You know, when you have people on PC saying that, you know, that just goes to show you. And again, I'm not a console player, but again, at the same time, I've seen both. I mean, I match with controller players because it takes priority and it says it in my lobby. But I can tell you wholeheartedly that you know, even against controller players that actually snipe, they can do some serious work, whether it's aggressive or passive, doesn't matter. Shotguns they don't seem to be very viable in this game. I think. It wouldn't surprise me that, like, if they actually felt like secondary weapons, you know, if shotguns were actually secondaries, I think they'd be a good, solid secondary, because they're not just, you have to be really close, yet at the same time, I haven't tried them myself, but from everything I've seen, whenever I die to a shotgun in a game, which isn't too often compared to other gun classes, you have to be pretty damn close. But if you are pretty damn close, obviously the gun is working as intended, you're going to die instantly. But other than that, you know, in terms of the distance of how fast it can kill you and stuff like that, so far I haven't seen anything that's viable. Again, that is subject to change because people are still leveling up their guns. So, but as of right now, that's what I've seen. So, and then of course secondaries work like secondaries do. You shouldn't sleep on them if you like using secondaries, but as a primary, you know, I guess it depends on the lobby that you're in. But even with that being said, you know, you've got really good regular primary weapons. So, and so far, all the weapons are used as intended. I mean, you can still cheese, you can still do ridiculous things, but that's how it is in a casual game like this. It always has been, and it always will be. But that's what I've been feeling so far. So, but at the end of the day, a lot of problems that were in a few of the problems that were in betas or whatnot. Some of them are still there. Like obviously the desync needs to be fixed eventually. But overall, the game just feels better and a lot more consistent. My ping numbers in terms of average are lower this time around, which is great. I can find matches very, very quickly. I did turn off crossplay on Xbox Series X, and it did take a very, very long time to find matches. But even when I did, the skill gap was pretty much the same. Remember, the game prioritizes to search for controller players, especially if you have input-based matchmaking on. So, but even if you don't, still, it prioritizes looking for controller players. So whether you're on PC or console, and if you're a controller player, you're going to be running into other controller players. So turning crossplay off as of right now just doesn't make... turning crossplay on at this point... off. Just doesn't make that much sense. Majority of players seem to be controller players, even the ones that are playing on PC. And I'm seeing more PC players than I am console players, honestly, to be honest. But it's going to be very interesting to see how things go when they eventually release the console-only crossplay and how that's going to affect things. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But with that being said, though, my experience overall with the game has been very mixed. I've run into very, very sweaty lobbies. I've run into very, very casual lobbies, and I've run into in-between lobbies. If I play really, really late into the night, into the morning, I will find sweats. If I play any other time of the day, I will not find sweats. And that has been overall my experience, my first impressions of the game. There's going to be more things that I'm going to talk about, but with that being said, I just wanted to give a very basic and a very how do I put this, simple way of explaining in terms of what I've experienced so far. I will go more in depth. I may do shorts as far as like, if there's anything I've discovered or something like that, I may do shorts. But other than that, those are overall my thoughts. There will be more videos coming in terms of in depth of other things that I have in mind, but I just wanted to make this video. It's been a few days since I made the video since release, so I wanted to at least make something, and this is where I stand so far. Is it a perfect game? No, but it still has the potential, and time will tell. And ultimately, I believe that it's going to be up to us on whether or not this game succeeds in terms of the long run. But with that being said, I want to know your experience down below. What do you guys think of XDefiant? What are your experiences? Because so far, in terms of what I read in the comment section, whenever I look at my community tab, I'm seeing a lot of similarities, and at the same time, I'm seeing a lot of differences, which again points to the fact that everybody's experience is different, and therefore everybody's experience is organic, because not everybody has the same skill set, and not everybody is able to adapt the same way. This is still a new game. This is still a different game, but yeah. So anyway, I've run out of time. I will talk to you guys on the next one, and as always, thank you all very much for taking the time to watch and or listen, and I'll see you later.